I'm Theodore Leaf. I'm coming to you from the perspective of a celebrity hairstylist. And one thing that celebs just love is a fabulous blowout. Soccer moms love it too. I'm gonna show you my tried and true technique for getting the best blow dry every time. Trust me, you'll use this forever. All right, the first thing we did is obviously shampooed and conditioned our gorgeous model's hair. Made sure and rinse all that conditioner out because I want bounce in the end result. My favorite part about this blow dry is that it is so recreatable on any head because every head has the same point. The first thing I'm gonna do is section out her hairline. So I'm gonna basically draw about a 1-inch line pretty much at the top of her ear. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna create an entire front section. I love for the client to sort of get a taste of what she's gonna experience when she leaves the chair. Also too, if she had color, it'd be great for her to get a preview of her highlights or her gloss or her base color, whatever she had done. The other thing is if somebody has really woolly hair, like I do, it's a fabulous way to make sure and you get that hairline and really blow that out first because that has to be wet for you to really get all those little hairs nice and smooth. From here, we've got one section. I'm now gonna divide that into 3. Pretty much from the point of the eyebrow up. Now your sections, you don't ever want those to be any wider than your brush. So I'm just gonna twist that back and lay that there, and I'm gonna start on my 2 side sections. The reason this is really important to section is because I can isolate different areas of the head, and this is how I can recreate it every time, because I know this is my section, this is my section, and it gives me a roadmap for when I'm blow drying. This is my blow dryer. Really important tool is your nozzle on your blow dryer. It just gives me direct flow of air exactly where I want it. I'm gonna start with a very small round brush. This is absolutely the best way to make sure and get all those little hairs really nice and smooth. And it also helps to set the really beautiful style and the shape that I'm gonna give you in the end. The other thing too you wanna think about is how hot is your dryer? I know we all just turn it on full force, full heat, full blast, but depending on the hair texture, you might wanna knock it down a little bit. She has a lot of hair, so I'm gonna go for it. So this is my first section, and what I'm gonna do is over direct this forward, making sure that all those little hairs are in there. If you're directing it properly, you're not gonna burn her. I'm not worried about the ends yet. I'm really focusing on that money shot, which is my hairline. Once you feel confident that the hairline is pretty dry, now you can go to the mid shaft and the ends. So what I'm doing is I'm using my brush almost as a finger to hold the hair where I want it. And I'm blow drying the top part and the bottom part. This is so one side doesn't dry before the other. So once you feel like your hair is dry, at the mid shaft, you're gonna start twisting the hair with the brush in it. And as I twist, I'm pulling the brush out. Twist, pull the brush out, twist, pull the brush out, and then release. So I'm twisting it because I'm gonna keep this really soft, pretty shape because this isn't a straight blowout, it's a blowout with movement. And so you're just gonna let that cool. We're gonna do the same exact thing on the opposite side. You can really see why the nozzle is important because it's really helping me press the hair, get a lot of good shine. So now that I'm feeling like this is nice and dry, I'm gonna do the same thing where I'm gonna twist it and release it and twist it and release it just to the ends. Lay that down and let that cool. Notice that I twisted both of these sections away from the face. This is so it looks like she's sort of walking in wind. You don't want a big curl happening right in front of your face on the red carpet. This is a pretty healthy section, so I'm actually gonna divide it. Notice I have 3 things in my hands. If you can't do this, you should practice. I'm gonna smooth that out, and I'm just gonna continue my drying technique. Pulling that section forward, and then I'm also gonna go from the top and pull it up. This will give me a good amount of lift, but not too much. This is just to make sure that it dries evenly. So now I'm finished with this section, and again, I'm gonna do my same twist, pull, let that drop out, let it bounce, and then go back to this section on the top. Get those roots dry. With her texture, in this section, I'm not really looking to control frizzies because she doesn't really have them. I'm looking to build volume and continue building that beautiful shape. Now what I'm gonna do is twist these two sections together, and I'm gonna let it cool like this. Now, the reason I haven't parted her hair where I'm actually gonna part it is because then when I separate it and move it, it's gonna have this amazing lift, and she's gonna go, oh, I love you. Now what I did in my original sectioning, if you remember, we sectioned the front into those 3 sections, and then I sectioned the back out. Again, this is just a time saver because I can spin her around and keep going. Now I'm gonna switch sizes. This is a medium round brush. I'm using boar bristle. If you're used to metal round brushes, by all means, use them. What I'm gonna do now is start with the back. Now, how I get this set up is I'm gonna make a section just with the round brush and divide these 2 in half. And I'm gonna set the side that I'm not using here, and I'm gonna set the side that I'm using this way. Now in this bottom section, I'm not looking to really build volume. I just wanna make sure and get all that hair nice and smooth and shiny. Now, if you notice, I have tension. I am absolutely engaging this hair. You can't do a beautiful blow dry with arms like this. You have to be engaged. Move your body. Really get into it. Now this is feeling nice and dry. What I'm gonna do is instead of doing the twist out, I'm just gonna lock that brush in and leave it. I have a lot of brushes, so I'm gonna go to my next one. So notice I'm pulling this out and down, and then I'm going down this way. This is very important. Most women have little baby hairs under here. Now, if you can smooth those into your blow dry, again, they're gonna love you. You're almost sculpting the hair, really. Like, if I'm noticing that there's any kind of frizzies there, I'm making sure and pressing that with my nozzle. Again, that's why it's so important to use the nozzle. All right, so we've got our first 2 brushes in here. These are kind of acting like hot rollers or Velcro rollers. They're just placeholders. And you've got to keep it clean, because if you don't do this clean, you're going to end up with brushes stuck in the hair and you're going to be mad. So make sure that you keep sectioning properly. Now I'm going to go up about 1.5 inches and make a section from ear to ear. Then I'm going to split that. Again, if you need to use a clip, by all means. I use a chopstick, it's fine. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing. Now I'm just gonna split them with my finger and just make sure that they're separate and that none of your sections are bigger than the brush. And I'm just gonna continue the same exact thing. Now if you have a client with crazy flyaways, you wanna make sure and not blow dry the hair that way. Because see what happens? All that stuff sticks up. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping my nozzle directed with the grain of the hair, if you will. Going down. Now the same thing, I'm doing the same exact thing, it's just on the underneath side. It looks like I'm not doing it, but I am, watch. So I'm going with the grain of the hair, but I'm just on the other side of it. So what's happening is I'm not shooting all those hairs up. I'm just simply smoothing that out. And then you gather it all, get a little tension, pull that down, and they all become one again. The thing that I love about this blowout is I can pretty much sit anybody with long hair down in my chair and basically explain, okay, so you want it smooth with a bit of fullness and a little wave on the bottom. Light and airy. And they all go like this. I'm like, I know exactly what you want, I've got you. You're probably wondering just about now, oh my God, does he have like 12 brushes? I have a lot of brushes, but I don't have that much space in my kit because I'm always on the go. So I'm actually only using these 4 brushes. Now this bottom part has had enough time to cool that I'm gonna continue up the head and I'm gonna start alternating my brushes based on when the last one went in. It's like baking. Now I'm gonna create a section right above the ear, about that big. Because what I can do is park a brush right in there. And I'm gonna section that same thing on the other side. And then I'm just gonna tuck this up. This is my first section. Now, I can feel it, this is cooled perfectly. So now I'm gonna release it by twisting, using my same twisting motion that I did in the front. Again, this just keeps that really cool shape that we created, and then you just release it. Now, I'm not gonna take all the brushes out, I'm gonna leave the rest of these in to cool. Now, around the ear, this is important. I'm gonna really give some good volume here. And it's okay, I kind of do this where it's like pulsing, I kind of pulse it, just to really get that root set up for success. And now do the same thing on the top. Nice tension, pulling down, finishing off on the ends. Look at that beautiful shine we're getting in the hair. Same thing on the top, nice tension, all the way through the end. Essentially, you get this nice and dry, really press the end. And I'm feeling like it's dry enough. Winding that up, twisting it down. Feel free to really lock it in there, and you're good to go. I've got my next section, twisting out, releasing, let that cool. Now I'm gonna go back to my other triangle I had over here, above the ear, and repeat the same thing. You might be asking yourself, I don't know, Theodore, that's a lot of brushes, it's a lot of drying, it looks like a lot of work to me. But if you think about it, if you were trying to do a roller set or use a big curling iron, you would have to get the hair smooth and frizz-free, so you'd have to blow it out somehow. And then you'd have to put the shape in. So what this technique gives you is sort of an all-in-one. We're drying the hair, we're shaping it into a beautiful wave, and we're smoothing it. So we're getting rid of the frizz, we're giving good volume. So it's really taking several techniques, several methods of styling hair, putting it into one blowout that you can go back to again and again and again to make your clients really happy and coming back for more. Now, one of the things I notice when I teach people this in person is they get kind of sloppy on their brushes and they leave them like that. And it's sad. So you want to make sure and roll it up high. Like basically what I did is, you know, old school, I over directed, wrapped it in there, okay, and then rolled it down and pressed it in. The higher it is on the head, the easier it is gonna be just to sit there. Now I always tell my clients, just so you know, I'm gonna leave a few brushes in your hair, don't be alarmed, it's all fine. Because they're like, what is going on here? But trust me, once they see the end result, they're on board. Now this is where you could run into some trouble, because some people would just say, okay, I'm just gonna section it and keep going. Well, what I like to do is divide this section up, because I like to create a mohawk section that's nice and manageable. I'm gonna create about a 1-inch section here, and then I'm gonna create horizontal sections in the rest of this. So I'm just gonna continue to lock this out of the way. Unroll this section, same as we did before. Roll it out, pull that down, and then just let that cool. And then I'm just gonna continue on this side, drying. Now I do this same sectioning, whether it's fine hair, thick hair, curly hair, straight hair, red hair, green hair, it doesn't matter. Same section. You can guarantee yourself a fabulous result every time. All right, now it is time to go to the top. This is where all the magic happens. I'm gonna release this section. I'm gonna create a horizontal section that's about the width of my brush and that is no wider than my brush. So there we go. Now remember, where was my last brush? It was, this one was. I'm gonna twist that out. Give it a little bounce, a little encouragement. Okay. One of the things that I do is I almost detangle the hair a little bit. It's already been pre-detangled, but you know, you wrap it up, you take the section out, all of these things. I just give it a nice little detangle with the brush so that I don't hit any snags. Otherwise she gets a surprise. And now I'm going for full volume. So I am over-directing this hair as forward as possible, rolling it down, getting my roots going so that she has a good lift. Now sometimes clients will say, Theodore, I don't want big hair. First of all, I say, that's not true. What I do recommend is that when you put lift in the roots, I tell them it's gonna last so much longer because your roots aren't sitting on your scalp gathering oil. So if you have a good amount of lift in your hair, you're already setting yourself up for a blow dry that's gonna last a lot longer. So really, you guys, what we're doing is we're doing the same technique on the whole head in different sections that are all pre-designed by yours truly to give you a successful blowout. So we're giving you good volume at the top, smoothness around the hairline, smoothness at the bottom. Once you've done this a while, you should be able to bang out a blow dry in 40 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on the hair. I'm just gonna go ahead and release these brushes. And then this is the last brush. You're always kind of twisting it. This is my favorite part and her favorite part too. I'm gonna put my dryer on high heat, low speed. Now what I'm looking for is any sort of wetness, any sort of coolness in the hair. If you don't get that, your hair is gonna frizz. What you're doing is you're hiding all those sections you created. You're making sure the roots are 100% dry. You're making sure the hair is 100% dry. I'm not blow drying this with full force because otherwise I would be wasting all that work I did. Now towards the end, I start twisting it just to keep that nice shape that we created in the beginning. Honestly, if you skip this step, you wasted all this time doing this great blow dry that's just gonna fall. Flip forward for me. Fabulous. Now, I blew dry this without a part, you guys, because the thing is, when I look at the hair, I decide, do I want a center part? Do I want, okay, so that, you look at that looks good. Do you want to do it on the side? We did it without the parting, so you have the freedom to do whatever looks good. And it's important to play in the mirror and sort of work with your client on where should they part their hair. But I think this parting on this side is fabulous. You've got that bend in there, all that work you did, so you can just kind of shape it with your finger right there and get that really beautiful hair that everybody wants. Now, we've done all this work. First thing she's gonna ask is, how can I save this blowout? I love it. I'm gonna recommend have some dry shampoo on hand, so you can send her home with some dry shampoo. That's just gonna soak up any oil that she gets at the roots, show her how to use it, which is you use it in sections right at the root, brush it out, it's gonna soak up the oil, kind of pop it back up again. I recommend that she uses a shower cap, so when she's showering, the steam doesn't really hit the hair and affect it. The other thing too is if you're working out, one of those great wide headbands is fantastic because it sort of keeps the hairline clean. And then I recommend for this style, you could just wrap it up into a nice little bun because it's got that wave shape in there. So then when you release it, you get that all over again. All right, that is my blow dry that has gotten me through thick and thin. I've been doing it for over 10 years now, and I can't wait for you to try it. Section, nozzle, brush, and this is what you get.